Hey, good morning, Drew. How you doing?
Good morning to you.
Hey, it's
Bright
good.
and early in the Pacific Northwest.
Yeah, I'm glad to see they have the lights on there at your place. I was worried about waking you up too early, but no, it's great to see you once again. We're starting to build back up our rhythm of doing this once a week, and this week we're hitting on the Artist Journey by Stephen
Yeah,
Pressfield, and
yeah,
I think yeah, a pretty good, insightful book. At least for me, it resonated because the whole concept of the hero's journey and digging into that a little deeper and how it relates to everybody's life. And anyways, what did you think about it right off the top?
Well, he's an interesting guy, and he shares his life in a way where he's sharing his philosophy, his approach, he's using his experiences. Now, I'm going to kind of speak to you from not just the artist's journey, which is right here, but his book, Do the Work, uh, Turning Pro, and also The War of Art, and which I find that there's a consistent thought there. It's really one book split into four, and if you read one, you're going to learn about him. You don't really need to read all four books, but I like it. And in regard to the artist journey, I found that there were little nuggets in there that I was able to extract. The hero's journey. Hmm. I like the way you explained it to me, but I wrote it down here, and I think it's something we can all relate to on some level. It's not just your tour of duty, the times you were deployed, or me being in prison and coming home. Um, I think it could be anything you go through and you come out of, and you're better,
Yeah,
and you have something better to offer. So I
yeah,
think that's everyone can relate to it in that way a little bit.
yeah. I like that too. I do think that it is. It can be really small. It can be done in a day. Each day could be a little miniature hero's journey just depending on how you want to attack it and go through it. But also a military career or a time in prison or military deployment or going through a college degree or a class. Those could be journeys in and of themselves. And but I like the hero's journey in that the different steps and how it relates to mythology and it's intertwined inside a religion as well. And it's really how Hollywood writes its stories because that's what how it resonates and connects with the human condition. And so to me, I think it's a really powerful framework to consider if you want to be an artist telling stories or whatnot. And even telling a joke or it can resonate. But the cool thing about this book for me was, he says that everybody has a hero's journey, but the true artist, after the hero's journey and they get some sort of life experience and they develop an understanding of the world, then if they want to go into the creation mode, and it could be anywhere from starting a business to writing a book or creating music or, I'd be interested in hearing about your feelings about, doing woodworking because you created a lot of beautiful pieces of art that had meaning beyond just the wood. And, especially the flag boxes and stuff you built for me, though that was something was talking to you and you were bringing that out in a physical creation. And now that physical creation has more meaning than what, the wood had before. It's really pretty cool.
Uh-huh.
But so now it challenges me to look at my life and say, okay, what is my true calling now that I have all this experience? Do I want to still keep on going on little hero's journeys, attacking the next dragon, or do I need to slow down, really learn, take time to learn about myself and listen to that, super conscious and bring that out into the world based on the experience and uniqueness that I bring to the that I can offer. So
Wow.
that's something that hit me.
No, that's good. I think a key thing here is, your journey is your story. It's something you're going through. You're going to come out on the other side. And then what do you do with it? One of my pastors told me a while, your highest goal can't be to get out of prison, it's to stay out of prison. What are you going to do positive constructively with this experience? And I think that's kind of what the hero's journey, we fall down the rabbit hole, we go through something, you meet resistance in life. It changes you on the inside. And then that inward change should be this dynamic force to create some outward change in the world, whether that's in your family, your community. And then what I like is that the artist journey is saying, hey, it's not over. After you return and you have something for the people and you have a message and you have some life experiences to share, now you really go on the artist journey, which is now you're refining and you're really extracting from your experiences the true nuggets to be able to really leave a legacy. And so what I kind of get out of Stephen Pressfield, and when I read his books, I felt like I was just having a conversation with a guy who had been writing books for decades, had been in Hollywood, had done movies, and was really distilling everything down to its most simplest concepts, and then packaging and giving it to me. And so I don't know. It was a good book. I drew a triangle, and I wrote hero's journey at the top, to artist journey, the bottom left, and then the other part of the triangle is it has to be your destiny, your calling, the legacy, what you create. Out of the artist journey comes creation. That's what I'm thinking.
Yeah. So for me, I really like the book, and I do need to read Going Pro. I've just read a book summary of that from Brian Johnson, actually a while back, but because I think there might be some other ideas in there that I'd like. But for me, the whole concept of having the journey, whether it's a hero's or artist journey, there's overlap there. I think that was a key message in the book, and to me that really resonated. um, because it's to have that calling and then go for it. It's not necessarily, hero took you down. It's, hey, I saw that there's this challenge out there. Like, for me, it was go to West Point. Do I have what it takes to survive that? Or before then, it was even the most intensive wrestling camp that was in the nation. Can I go through that 28-day training camp? Okay, can I go to West Point? Can I succeed there? And then I was attracted to rock climbing. Okay, how hard of a rock climb can I climb and ice climb? And then I got into the Army, and then I'm like, hey, I want to go Special Forces. And then once I got into Special Forces, then I'm like, hey, I want to be a combat diver. Then I'm going to go to combat diver. And then it was, hey, can I go to the most intense planning school that the Army has to offer that you have to apply to and get an interview and get accepted to? And then I went to that. And then, and I kept on, getting promoted and getting those harder jobs. Can I be a battalion commander? And I got selected to be a battalion commander, and I went and served in Korea as a battalion commander. So it's always those next, and then it's time to leave the Army. Hey, do I have what it takes to go survive in the corporate world? Now I got a job as a manager in Honeywell, here in the Kansas City area, to a very, high end manufacturing plant.
Yeah.
So it's like, so I always have this calling for the next thing. It's all these little hero journeys, but now I'm like, okay, well, hey, is this what I'm gonna give to the world, or do I? It's time. Is it time for me to slow down a little and listen to my inner subconscious, connect with that? What gems can I potentially, you
Yeah.
know, let flow out. That's why I like making pottery with you on these weekends, because I think there's something there, that where through our collaboration we might be able to create something beautiful that can resonate with others. And that's one of the key things about an artist journey, is trying to create something beautiful that is empathetic and connects. And so, to me, that's that was inspirational. I don't know. What does that
Yeah.
make you think?
No, I thought that's great. Here's some characteristics of the artist journey: solitary, mental. It's an evolution. It's constant. It's about self discovery. It's about the art, not the artist. It can be dangerous. It focuses on imagination, dreams, and incremental progress. Man, that's almost a perfect description of prison. Solitary, mental. I was like, man, this could be the prisoner's journey.
Yeah.
Um, here's the thing about turning pro. Being in that next level of your life. Um, I realized yesterday? It's easy to start. It's harder to finish.
Yeah.
I was running yesterday. I'm training this kid, and we're kind of doing the circuit training. And right now we're still on lockdown, so we only get about an hour out a day. So we try to fully exhaust ourselves. And I'm running around the prison yard, and we're hitting little stations. Doing abs here, push-ups there, leg raises here. And I realized taking off running isn't that bad. But running to the destination, I find that I want to slow down to a trot, to a walk, 20 feet before I get to my destination. And such it is in life with writing a book or doing some of these things that we do. It's easy to get started, but what determines whether you really do it or not is having the will, the heart to finish.
Yeah.
And that's one thing that a pro does. Someone in life, you learn how to finish. Anybody can start things. Anybody can start school. You can finish school. Anybody can start a career. You can complete your career. And here's another important characteristic. Something about an artist, but also about turning pro. And when I say turning pro, I'm talking about an evolution of you in your life. Whatever you're going through, whatever you might have, career, marriage, kids, learning how to let go. You can't carry everything with you. And I would imagine you in the military, a key thing is learning how to pack. That's a key thing to survival. Take what's necessary, leave everything else behind. And if you're going to be a success in life, if you're going to be a professional, if you're going to accomplish great things, you're going to have to be very decisive about the things you let go. And that's going to determine whether or not you finish. Because if you're burdened down with a bunch of mental junk, bad friendships, bad relationships, you're not going to make it to that destination. So learning how to pack what's necessary and let the rest go determines whether or not whether like me and this kid I'm running with, he just zips right to his destination. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
And I'm the trainer, I'm the coach, but there's a will thing in there. So
I think that's really
I got a
good.
few more nuggets.
Yeah, I think that's pretty good, Drew. You fired off a couple things in my head. So now that I've transitioned into the civilian world, I can't keep on bringing up my old military stories. It's like I need to let it go. That's irrelevant to the people I'm working with now. It doesn't matter. It does matter that I have 26 years of experience and whatnot, and leadership and managing folks, but it's the here and now that matters. It's not that history. Let it go. Move on, right? So I see that too. I used to work for a general, and he called it the rock and scalpel drill. Okay, so in the army, we would always have these big rucksacks, and we'd always keep on trying to add more stuff, more ammo, bigger, more radios. We need to be able to talk further, with more people. You keep on adding all this high tech gear. Next thing you know, you're carrying around a 130-pound rucksack, and you can't that
Yeah.
that's just going to slow you down. You can't do anything. Okay, so he says before you put a rock in the rucksack, you got to get out the scalpel and figure out what you're going to cut out because you can't keep on just piling in more rocks. And so I think that's important with life, right? You gotta you know be able to get rid of stuff so you can move and adapt and learn and advance into the future. And so I think that's a great concept that you just brought up. And so, like when you get out of prison, you have to get past that. You have to adapt to the new environment, and you got to start
Yeah.
producing and adding value to the new environment you come to. I'm facing that
Yeah.
now in my workplace, right? So I'm about ready to get a new type of job and role. And now I'm saying, okay, so now here's a new hero's journey. And personally, I'm looking at it. And it's like, okay, how all in am I going to go? And I have family requirements and things priorities I want to do. I want to spend time making pottery with you. And it's like, okay, how am I going to juggle these things moving forward? Be financially stable. Invest in the future, raise good kids, have a great family.
Yeah.
So it's going pro. I want to be great at all things, but you got to let things go too. You can't do it all, and because you got to maintain your energy and your health and your fitness and whatnot. So
Yeah.
I think, but you have to take time to create. Now, one thing that you mentioned that it's solitary and it's by yourself. I agree that you have to have that. You have to take time to process your own thoughts and let your superconscious come out. But there's also power in collaborating with others
Mm-hmm.
and iterating ideas off each other. It's almost like you can have a super conscious across multiple
Mm-hmm.
people. And I think
Yeah.
the sum of multiple people can be bigger than themselves, right? And so,
No, and I think a community provides more connection, more ideas. But either way, you're going to ingest that, and then you're going to have a solitary kind of a revelation,
yeah,
a thought. You know, one thing is about resistance. He talks about it in all his books, and I was weightlifting last night. I worked out. Well, we actually got 2 yards yesterday. It was miraculous. So
yeah,
I went and ran with this kid in the morning, and then at night we did some weight training, and that's resistance. And we were able to go heavy and put more resistance on that bar. But knowing how to manage that resistance, and I'll tell you what, one thing that really helps you build good muscle is a good spotter. Then you can allow the weight to be more than you can bear, but that person with you is going to make sure that bar keeps moving.
yeah,
And I think it's like that in life. I think resistance, and he really resistance is not. It's not a good thing the way he lays it out. It's something that prevents you from being the best you. It prevents you from achieving the things that you're really meant to achieve. That's resistance. And I'm saying resistance in this sense is that it's a constant in life. Whether you want to say it's the enemy, your procrastination, timidity, laziness, it could be pride or immaturity. But this thing is something you're going to have to fight against. But if you have a good spotter, and if you have an approach to dealing with it, it actually builds muscle. It builds characteristics. It builds the ability for you to speak into somebody else's life and talk about what type of weight that they have on them. And so I think it's not about avoiding everything in life that can challenge you. I think it's about being smart about the challenges you face, and then knowing that it's your purpose in life to share your wisdom, your knowledge from your experiences with somebody else that's going through something similar to you. Does that make sense? Oh, here, one last thing. This is from Turning Pro. He says, if you're dissatisfied with your current life, ask yourself what your current life is a metaphor for. That metaphor will point you towards your true calling. So now we're under 2 minutes.
Yeah, that's pretty good. There's a self-authorship writing module that I signed up for through Jordan Peterson, and it's about self-reflection and understanding like what out of the 5 core academically accepted personality traits that every human has. It's go through a checklist and you can identify probably what is really where your attributes sit, and then it lets you write about your history and your story and your metaphor to then better understand how that fits with your personality type, and then that can learn and adapt over time. But I think it's a great tool to help understand where you're at, what's been in your past, and then to codify some goals going forward. So I'll send you that write up. So even though you can't participate in the online website, you can still look at that, because I think that as you and I work together on this, we have the power of collaboration. We're both tapping into our own superconscious and ideas. We have different experiences. I think that's if we can bring that together, I think that's going to make even something better and stronger than what we would create separately. And I think that's what's pretty cool about the Colonel and the Convict, and reading books like this, The Artist Journey, and take us to the next level.
Well, look, man, good conversation. Stephen Pressfield, interesting guy. I want to encourage everybody, check it out, The Artist Journey, Stephen Pressfield. We also want to know about what is your hero's journey? What is your artist journey? So reach out to us. We'd like to hear those stories.
I love you, Drew, and good to see you again. Have a good week.
Yeah. Talk soon.